We are 2 weeks away from NBA free agency. Yes, the offseason for the NBA moves quite quickly. And as the free agency period gets kicked off in 2 weeks, I wanted to preview the top 25 free agents in this offseason who could be signing and moving teams. We'll break down if they have a player option, restricted, unrestricted. We'll have it all. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we will be live. Yes, you heard that correctly, for NBA free agency. For some reason, Adam Silver wanted to put it on a Sunday afternoon when it opens on June 30th. Don't you worry. We'll have you covered on the latest surrounding free agency, so hit that sub button. All right, number one on the list is LeBron James, the forward from the Lakers. And this is obviously very dependent on if he opts in or opts out. He could opt into the Lakers and have one more year under contract and make $50 million, or he could set the NBA world on fire by opting out. Who knows? Maybe he joins whatever team drafts Bronny James, because that will happen before free agency. But he does have a player option. I'd expect him to opt in, but on the off chance he doesn't, he would be the number one guy. Number two is Tyrese Maxey, who I almost debated even putting him on this list because, let's just face it, he's a restricted free agent, which means whatever team signs him, the 76ers can match. There is not a chance in the world. I have a better chance of growing 7 inches overnight, becoming 7'2" tall, and being in the NBA than the 76ers letting Tyrese Maxey go. But technically, he is a free agent. Paul George at number 3. This one is where things start to get interesting because he has a player option, and I think there's a legit chance he opts out. And June 29th is the date that we'll have to know if he's opting in or not to. But George, if he doesn't get a long-term extension from the Clippers prior, maybe he does opt out and go to free agency. A team like the Orlando Magic should be all in on Paul George if he ever became available. We'll see if he opts in or opts out, though. I legitimately think he could opt out. Pascal Siakam is our first unrestricted free agent on the list. The Indiana Pacers traded for him before the deadline to get him from the Raptors. All expectations are that Pascal Siakam will re-sign on a long-term max deal with the Pacers, but he is unrestricted. I'll be curious to see if he takes any other visits and meetings with teams in the NBA. OG Anunoby, the fifth man on our list here, the forward that was also traded from the Raptors. He went to the Knicks. He has a player option, but he is almost certainly opting out. Why, you ask? Well, he's only getting paid $19 million on that player option for this upcoming year. He can easily get $30+ million, if not 40, from a team in free agency. So he will have a bidding war. The question is, will he re-sign with the Knicks? Expectations are that will happen, as he does have or work with CAA, and he's got some ties to the Knicks organization. But if he opts out, which he will, he'll be heavily pursued by other teams. What say you? Will OG Anunoby return to the New York Knicks? I would probably be typing my Ys, but you let me know your thoughts down below on if OG Anunoby will return to the New York Knicks. Type Y for yes, type N for no. The Beard, James Harden, the guard from the Los Angeles Clippers. He is an unrestricted free agent. A lot of expectations are he gets retained by Los Angeles, but Harden can be someone who goes to anybody in the NBA. Still has some good years left in him. DeMar DeRozan is my number 7th free agent here. I think he re-signs with Chicago, but if they're not willing to offer him a 2-year max deal that he's eligible for, maybe he does go elsewhere. There's some reports out there that DeRozan is prioritizing getting a good contract as it's the last time he could do so. I think DeRozan re-signs with Chicago, but you never know. Nic Claxton is my 8th guy, and you might think that this is a little too high, but Claxton's a rim-protecting center that I think could only grow. The jump shot is probably not the prettiest thing in the world, but if he's able to develop a little bit of a 15-foot mid-range shot, he has a good chance to be one of the best two-way centers in the NBA. He's also always one of the best, or he's already one of the best defensive centers. Unrestricted free agent, a team that has money to spend, why not bring him in to anchor your defense? Malik Monk from the Sacramento Kings is a free agent, and he is not going to be re-signed by the Kings if you ask me. I just think he's going to be too pricey for Sacramento. He's likely going to get $20+ million. A team like Orlando, who has cap space, could pay Monk to be one of their leading backcourt scorers as they need it to help out Banchero and Franz Wagner. Monk, Sixth Man of the Year candidate a year ago, did not win, but could he be a missing piece in a starting backcourt or get paid as a true Sixth Man of the Year from a different team? Immanuel Quickley comes in at number 10 on this list. He's a restricted free agent, and I doubt that the Raptors let him get away for nothing because, well, let's just face it, they made that deal, including OG Anunoby. They got RJ Barrett quickly and some weak draft capital, but it was a player-led package, so they clearly want to build around RJ and Quickley, so I'd expect IQ to stay in Toronto or at least get matched with any other offer that he signs. Isaiah Hartenstein, my number 11 free agent, the center who just does it all for the New York Knicks. There are a lot of rumors out there that the starting point for a Hartenstein would be $20 million a season. Listen, he's a fantastic player, but $20 million is kind of nuts if you ask me. But it's out there that the Thunder really like him. Could he be the starting center alongside Chet Holmgren? I think it makes a lot of sense for OKC to do that. He's a really good rebounder, good passer as well, plays with a lot of effort, and that front court of Chet and Hartenstein, they would not be bullied like Chet was kind of bullied by the Mavericks at times in the postseason. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, the guard, who has got a player option worth $15.5 million. I think he will opt out and try to cash in. This is probably the last time he can get a multi-year contract worth $18-19 million. Maybe he even reaches the 20 department as well, as we do have some NBA inflation. Caldwell-Pope will be absolutely pursued by some contending teams. Shout out to the 76ers. I think that's a team that could really be interested if they want to pair him up with Tyrese Maxey. Klay Thompson at number 13. And you might be thinking I'm a little crazy by putting KCP over Klay, but I think KCP is a better defender right now. He's a two-time champion in the last 5 years. Think about that, KCP is. Klay's obviously a champion too, but I just think Klay might be cooked, man. He struggled from the field this past year. He no longer can defend, and I can't get out of my mind that play-in game that he had against the Kings where the Warriors season ended. He was so bad. Like, I don't even know if I'd want him on my team for vet min. I'm kidding. Obviously, I would sign him for the vet min, but it was so ugly. I think Klay is not as good as what people once thought he is and isn't anymore. Predict it for me. This one's intriguing. Klay Thompson will play for the blank in 2024. I'm not stopping you from saying the Guangdong Tigers, but you can let me know in the comment section where Klay's playing in 24. Kelly Oubre at number 14. He had an excellent season after signing for damn near the vet min for the 76ers. He's likely going to get the full mid-level exception from a team, which is about $10-13 million, 2-3 seasons. Oubre proved he could be a piece of a winning culture for the 76ers last year. Good defense, finishes at the rim. Oubre is someone that will be pursued by some contenders. One of my favorite guys, Tyus Jones, unrestricted free agent, played for the Wizards last year. One of the most ridiculous assist-to-turnover ratios in the entire NBA. It's just so dang good. He simply doesn't turn the ball over. Undersize is his only issue, but he can shoot the three ball at a good rate, 38%, can facilitate, run an offense. If your team needs a good point guard, Tyus Jones might be your guy. The Heat's Caleb Martin comes in at the list. He has a player option as well. Forgot to put that on here. $7.1 million. He will almost certainly opt out because he is likely going to get the full mid-level just like Kelly Oubre Jr. So Caleb Martin, good wing piece that can be 6th, 7th man off the bench. Martin will have some suitors. D'Angelo Russell falling all the way down to 17. He has a player option worth $18 million for the Lakers. Honestly, I think he could opt in because the interest around D'Lo, I don't expect to be that high. I think there's a legit chance he would only get $15 to $18 million for in free agency. So if that's the case, well, why wouldn't he just stay in Los Angeles for one more year? And then if he improves his stock, can cash in again next season. We'll see what Russell does, but I wouldn't be surprised if he opts in. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we will have the best NBA content on YouTube. We told you earlier we'll be live for free agency. Well, don't miss out because we're going to have you covered in between then and leading up to the big day on June 30th. Miles Bridges, the 18th player on this list from the Charlotte Hornets. He came back after missing time due to his suspension. I'm not the biggest Bridges fan, if I'm going to be honest, but he was pretty solid for Charlotte once he returned from his suspension. We'll see what his market looks like, but I have him as my 18th guy. This man right here, Derrick Jones Jr., he would have been a lot higher. He would have maybe cracked the top 15 just ahead of Caleb Martin because of how well he was playing in the postseason. But then I watched the NBA Finals where Derrick Jones Jr. was absolutely horrific and was dared to shoot the ball. He was good defensively all year long, good driver to the rim, good athletic finisher in lob situations. But teams just sagged off of him and said, you want to shoot a three? Go ahead. And he just was hesitant to do so. Derrick Jones Jr.'s got to improve that three-point shot, but he will get close to the mid-level this upcoming free agency. How about Tobias Harris here at number 20? Oh, God, he is so bad, man. He really is. Like, I still think there's some roles out there for him. The Pistons might bring him back as he was there earlier in his career. Harris just might be one of the most notorious playoff chokers that we have in the NBA. Just absolutely shrivels up in the big moment. Inefficient volume scorer. Could be a tough offseason for Tobias. Jonas Valanciunas, a bruising center here at 21. He's getting up there in age, but can still do some nice things for a team. I don't know if the Pelicans are going to bring back Valanciunas. If they don't, I'll be curious to see what his market is. Is he going to sign for $15 million? Maybe. That's probably what I'd project, but who knows what his market's going to be. Bruce Brown has a team option, one of the rare team options out there these days and age. Will the Raptors opt into paying him $22 million? They might and just use it as an expiring contract to trade at the deadline, or if a team wants a good role player. Bruce Brown is a solid role player, and I would expect, honestly, it's hard to predict. Like, will the Raptors opt in to that contract? They do get an expiring and a decent role player to have to trade at the deadline, but why would you also want to pay Bruce Brown $22 million? That was always too much money that the Pacers gave him in last offseason. Gary Trent Jr. at 23. I'm also a big fan of Gary Trent Jr. for some reason. Just a good, like, to me, whenever I watch him play, he just gets buckets. And he can give you a good scoring off the bench. Probably not a starter where he did start for some time in Toronto. But you sign him maybe $13, $15 million a season, have him be your lead guard off the bench, I'd be in. Obi Toppin, second to last free agent. He is restricted, and I'd imagine that the Indiana Pacers like to retain him. Shot 57% from the field, 40% from three, averaged 10 a game. Got phased out a little bit when Pascal Siakam came to town, but prior to Siakam coming to Indiana, Toppin was great. Be curious to see if a team will just throw a bag at him to try to lure him away and just overprice Indiana. I'm intrigued by Toppin's long-term growth. Maybe it was just because he was in that Pacers scheme and system under Rick Carlisle, but his numbers were really good in 2023. Last free agent we're going to talk about today, Buddy Hield, the 25th guy. Just a good three-point shooter, man. And going into last season, I think I said this in the offseason, he was maybe the fifth best or top five three-point shooter in the NBA. He has some of the highest rates of three-point percentage as well as volume. Buddy Hield would be able to help out any team with three-point shooting. Still matter if he could be on the floor. Obviously, finally got dealt away from the Pacers last year at the deadline. We'll see where Hield ends up in free agency. All right, we talked 25 guys on today's show, but I want to know from you, who is the best NBA free agent out there this offseason? Is it LeBron? Is it Paul George? Who is it going to be? Could it be Maxey? Probably not. He's going to re-sign with the 76ers. Drop a name for me down below. Also, follow me on Twitter at Nic_Rohloff. That is my handle. I cover the NBA on a daily basis. Draft, trade rumors, free agency. We'll have it all. So go give me a follow, and I'll see you next week with more NBA content. Peace out.